to the show. This is your host, Don McCauley. Today we're welcoming to the program author Heidi Siefkas, and Heidi is the author of With New Eyes. Heidi's books include When All Balls Drop and With New Eyes, of course. She's currently writing her third book, Cubicle to Cuba, which features a humorous collection of stories about her travels to Cuba, Peru, New Zealand, Italy, and more. Heidi, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
Let's start with a big question. Tell us about your book, please.
With New Eyes is my second book, and I'm excited for its release, September 2015. In it, I share the journey of architecting a new life. Readers will find it inspirational, very authentic, and an account of life change. Now, it's not all filled with rainbows and lollipops. It's full of mishaps, bold decisions, my classic sassy humor, and, of course, what is near and dear to me, adventure.
So who did you write your book for specifically?
The book is geared for anyone who finds themselves at a crossroads in his or her life. Just like software, we all carry around smartphones or have a computer. They have upgrades or updates. And people occasionally need these updates as well, whether it's improving our features, fixing bugs, or correcting life course. In this story, I share a case of life overhaul, and in an entertaining way, With New Eyes inspires readers to conquer fears, head for adventure, and become the captain of their own course.
Could you say there's any type of central message or perhaps underlying theme that you could say runs throughout your book?
Absolutely. The underlying theme is the power of perspective. That's the subtitle of the book. It also is something that has continued on from my first book. And I think we can all relate to trying to control in our lives, whether it's our health, the moods of people around us, or even the drivers around us. And in essence, we really have very little control over those things. But what we do have control over is the way that we think about them. And it is a conscious choice to take the time to switch that mental channel. And the power of perspective in this book is highlighted in some unique ways. And some of them are adventurous activities, traveling to new places, as well as facing challenges.
Now, if you could compare your book with any book out there we might already be familiar with, which book would it be and why?
For me, that's easy, and it's a hybrid between two books. Cheryl Strayed's Wild and Elizabeth Gilbert's Eat, Pray, Love. With New Eyes is a journey of architecting a new life, but instead of talking about a 1,000-mile hike, it is combining solo travel and seeking adventures in a way to tap into that power of perspective. And like Eat, Pray, Love, that was a journey of self-discovery. With New Eyes is also finding clarity, a new path, and love again, but perhaps not without stumbling across a couple Mr. Wrongs.
Why did you write this book?
I wrote the book as the first book was very well received, and When All Balls Drop is actually transitioning into film. From the feedback that I got, the message was very inspiring on how to survive life's hurdles and not only thrive from them, but create life change. But many people ask me, well, how do you create life change? How do you inject an upgrade to your own life? And that's why I wrote With New Eyes, the power of perspective. And it talks about unique ways in which I redesigned my life, and I call it Life 2.0. And I think that it's very critical, at least in this day and age, because whatever it may be that we are facing, a relationship that has been broken, betrayal, health problems, ill parent, career loss, it's easy to be negative, to not flip the situation into learning, because through my experiences, as well as I'm sure many of the listeners out there, there is a lesson in each circumstance. Every life hurdle, wound, or hiccup turns into wisdom. So I wrote this to spark Life 2.0 in others, and perhaps doing it in a fun, adventurous way.
How did you come up with the title?
The title, With New Eyes, actually was a real-life experience. As I told you, the first book was When All Balls Drop, and it starts with a freak tree accident in which I break my neck, and after a 9-month-long recovery, I actually returned to that same tree, in that very same place, and I looked at that tree with new eyes. I was physically recovered and partially emotionally recovered, but I thought that the words "with new eyes" summarized the exact feeling that I possessed at that moment, and people just like you will during an opportunity of life change.
You came up with a 2-word mantra, look up. What's that all about?
Well, mantras are typically a way to meditate or shift your perspective, gain clarity. And in my situation, I needed something that was very practical. I needed it to connect with the lesson that I learned from going through a traumatic injury and tremendous loss. And Look Up spoke to me because of its double entendre and really its ease. The first is to be in the moment, and that means appreciating the beauty around you as well as hazards, and to be mindful. The second component of Look Up is to spin each situation positively. And as I alluded to before, it's easy to dwell on the negativity of a circumstance or the stress of a certain circumstance. However, in every obstacle, wound, there is wisdom. Through years, through suffering, through trials and tribulation, comes wisdom. And so I created this Look Up mantra as a way, if it resonates with readers of my 2 books, to use it in their daily life, whether it's in a TSA line at a stoplight in traffic, or when they're dealing with perhaps a health scare themselves.
What is Life 2.0?
This Life 2.0 that I talk about in With New Eyes is a connection to software. And I'm sure many of you have smartphones or laptops, and just right when you're in the middle of doing something, up comes a pop-up that says, time to update your software or upgrade XYZ program. And I think Life 2.0 is something that all people need. When you upgrade your software or your programs, you're getting rid of these quirks, the bugs. You sometimes change the functionality. And when you do that to your life, you're doing somewhat the same. You're maybe cleaning out some of the quirks, changing your course, priorities, and in the journey that I share, it was a complete life overhaul. And the result is a true path, and I call where I am now Life 2.0, where I check in frequently to make sure that I don't need another upgrade.
What do you mean by the quote, adventure is my meditation?
Adventure is my meditation is a quote from With New Eyes, and it's a piggyback on the power of perspective and that mantra, look up. And for me, adventure is a way of shifting your mindset. Now, it doesn't always have to be physical. It can be something that is a combination of physical, mental, and emotional. My definition is it's something that perhaps is fearful, but in spite of that, you still do it. And you have to be all encompassed in that execution of that activity. And through the story that I tell in With New Eyes, I find that there's no better way than to whitewater raft, rent a car in a strange city, or even do a one-leg balance pose in yoga than to gain this mindfulness, this this clarity, this moment that you're doing nothing else, because if you do focus on anything else, you're not going to be able to paddle through the rapids, find your way while you're still talking on the phone or listening to the radio, or stay balanced. So I call adventure as my unique way of meditation, so as to inspire others to find what works for them, to shift perspective, whether that be their own adventure, embracing look up, or a combination of both, and something that is unique to them.
How would you describe your writing style?
My writing style is very down to earth, raw, easy to read, in short vignettes. They are almost like blog posts, and I think it's perfect for the times that we're in today. So no one is intimidated by a 40-page chapter. Readers have shared with me that they find these short snippets almost addictive, and there is humor peppered throughout. A easy, enjoyable, entertaining read.
In your opinion, who should buy your book?
The target is anyone who is at a crossroads, needing to take action or upgrade to Life 2.0. But the real sweet spot are females 18 to 65, and their interests would be happiness, travel, adventure, and humor.
Time's getting very short, so the most important question, where can readers find you and your book?
Readers can find my book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, as well as Google Play, and to connect with me, HeidiSiefkas.com.